Hi, I'm Mac McCarthy, and I help people with their breakups. And today we have insecurities in marriage and other relationships. We've talked about insecurities before. We're going to tackle it from a different angle today because it's kind of a revolving door of problems for a lot of couples. And the individuals that are insecure sometimes don't even realize that they might be the problem. Their insecurities are the seed of the problem. And so let's get into this because it can create a breakup, a divorce, and you didn't even see it coming because a lot of times your actions, the way you're acting, you have no idea. You're just validated in your head, and it goes on and on and on again, and you keep getting mad at the same things, jealous at the same things, and you have no clue why. Because you never ask yourself, why am I really upset? Did I have these insecurities coming into the relationship, or did this individual create them for me, and now I'm blaming them for being them? We are a collection of intricate personality traits that are provoked for different moments at different times. And this is where people get shit really wrong. And this is something that I've noticed now being in this line of work for 40 years is that surface information doesn't cut it. There's very few people that you can just say, do this, and it works. And with insecurity, it's like, stop being jealous. Your girlfriend doesn't like it. It's like I went and watched some videos. I'm doing a little bit more research on topics now and seeing what other videos have out there. And this one video had like 6 million views from 7 years ago. And it's top 10 things to do if you're insecure. Do not do this. Do not do that. Do not overcall her. Do not do this. And I'm thinking to myself, God, I've evolved because I can just see how that kind of advice doesn't work for a majority of people. I can see why it's correct, but the individual that's actually jealous or insecure has no idea where that's coming from. They think they're just in what they're doing, and if you tell them to stop, they'll build a case on why they shouldn't. So we're going to get into that a little deeper today. Odd Carlo, G Money, always welcome on the scene. It'll be 11 a.m. Pacific time this week. Actually was planning on going to Thailand, back to my home in Thailand, and had to cancel a flight, got COVID the day before. So I'm on the tail end of that, feeling a lot better, folks, after 4 days. Almost fully there, but a little nasally today, but we're going to swim through it. Okay, so how do you deal with insecurities in marriage or other relationships? So to start with, I thought it would be interesting just to give you the definition off the internet. The definition of insecurity is uncertainty or anxiety about oneself, lack of confidence. That's it. That's what an insecurity is, according to the definition. I don't know if that was Webster's dictionary or not, but it was off of Google, right? Uncertainty or anxiety about oneself. Now, a lot of times people go, you made me insecure. You did this. But if you really read into insecurities, they start with you. Look in the mirror, take some inventory. All right. Quote of the day: in dealing with your insecurities overall, it's most important to identify those insecurities that you have as an individual, not just ones you view as being related to your relationship. In most cases, a serious insecurity, such as feeling inferior financially, will bleed into multiple buckets of your life, not just your relationships. In the case of marriage, sometimes your expectations of your wife or husband might be higher as the vows that were taken and the titles given add weight to your actions. All the same, it's best to take inventory of all your insecurities. Then identify the ones that are affecting your relationship. Then ask yourself, does my partner's actions and treatment of me feel like they're birthing these insecurities or just feeding old insecurities I've always had Let me read that one more time, please. Ask yourself, does my partner's actions and treatment of me feel like they are birthing these insecurities, or just feeding old insecurities I've always had? If you are confused by this question, make a list of your top 3 insecurities of your partner. Then ask yourself, were these insecurities here before we got together? Have friends and family pointed out these insecurities to me before? Then when you identify these areas of insecurity, do you want to change them, or do they serve a secondary gain? It's extremely simple for me to point out your insecurities and tell you it's not good for your relationship, or this could ruin your relationship. But this won't stop you from doing or acting out in this way, because deep down, your up and down behavior is most likely hiding a deeper problem than your partner is giving you. To truly reverse the course of your insecurities, you'll have to understand where they come from first. I'll review a set of questions that can immediately help you unveil the root cause of individual insecurities. Okay, so that paragraph's one of the denser ones that I've read. I wrote that this morning, and I'm going to break that down a little bit more crisper. Okay, but this is a really good way of looking at your insecurities. It's not me saying, "Hey, don't be jealous. Stop overcalling." These are things that you basically already know. Okay, but how do you really deal with your insecurities? Number 1, it's best you break down your insecurity issues in smaller bits. For example, if someone told me, "Coach, I don't know why I'm just so insecure." First question, what are you insecure about? I get jealous. What do you get jealous about specifically? I don't like her hanging out with her sister because her sister is a bad influence on her and she stays out late with her. What specifically does your girlfriend get influenced by? Well, she doesn't usually drink too much unless she goes out with her sister. Then she comes home drunk, and I know they were at a bar. Are there any other actions that make you insecure about going out with this friend? Right? Are there any other actions that make you insecure about her going out with her sister? Yeah, her sister is a hoe and dresses like one. I then consider this. In past relationships, do you get jealous and have past partners accuse you of jealousy? If not, do you believe this is an isolated problem or something you're filtering for or not? So here, you got a situation where your girlfriend is going out with her sister who drinks a lot, who you call a hoe. Whether it's true or not, you're uncomfortable with all this. Is this something that's common for you? Or is this something that is the first time you've dealt with this? Right? Instead of just saying I'm insecure, you got to get to the bits and pieces of it. Are you overreacting? Are you setting a boundary? They're different. Number 2, once you've broken down an insecurity in your relationship to its seed, you can use this method to confront your partner. Okay, so instead of just saying, I don't want you to hang out with that friend. Here's the thing to do. Nonviolent communication. His name's Marshall Rosenberg. He wrote a book on this. I've talked about it in other episodes. I'll talk about it again because it's a great way to communicate. Observations, feelings, needs, request. For example, observations. So when you go out with Kate, you get really drunk and come home late. I didn't mean to rhyme that on purpose. I just used Kate as a simple name. So instead of going, I hate when you go out, you never listen to me, you do this, you dress like this. Okay, when you go out with Kate, you get really drunk and you come home late. That's what I've observed. Feelings. I get worried that you'll make a mistake or someone will take advantage of you. I'm worried about you driving also. I feel like Kate influences you to do bad things and flirt with guys. This makes me feel insecure that you will cheat. Needs. I need to know that you're safe and not getting in drunken environments, or in this case, bars with guys hitting on you. Request. I'd like to be invited when you go out. And if you go out with Kate, I'd like to know what time you're getting home, and I'd like you to spend less time with Kate in bars and see if there's anything else she likes to do. Also, please consider hanging out with your sister more. You're close and she's a good person. See how there's some alternatives there? This is extremely good communication. Some people might find it dry, to the point. If your partner was to laugh at this or push this away, this would just prove to me that they would have a lot of trouble communicating in a mature way and expressing feelings. But it gets everything out. What's the problem? Observation, feelings, needs, request. It's very clean. This is useful. Okay? It's called nonviolent communication. Observation, feeling, needs, request. Number 3, get help for you. So if you're really insecure in a relationship, if it's you, it's over the top, you feel overwhelmed by it, you feel like you're part of the problem, get help for you. Stop blaming others for making you feel a certain way. Your feelings are produced through filters. Find out what you're filtering for. A lot of people that are jealous have been cheated on before. Okay? If you're extremely jealous or you're always making comments that your partner's going to cheat on you, where does that come from? Is it come from your partner or the fact that your dad cheated on your mom when you were 12? Because you're probably going to sabotage the relationship and accuse someone of something they're not doing. Number 4, don't blame your partner for who they are. You don't know how they got there. If you are direct with them and communicate your issues with respect, yet they still act against your wishes or requests, it's time to consider your boundaries and what morals and values are expected in your partner. If they can't meet that, you have a choice then to move on. So what happens a lot of times is, we just mentioned the example of your girlfriend's going out with a friend, they drink a lot, they get drunk, they hang out in bars. But instead of you saying what I just said earlier about observe, feelings, needs, request, you might say something like, you're just a hoe, you don't listen to me. You might get into things where you're throwing darts, you're calling people names. That's not going to help. You never listen to me. At some point, you got to be direct and go, look, if you and your friend go out to the bar every Friday night, get drunk, I'm not even invited. I'm not going to put up with this any longer. Because at some point, that person's not going to change their actions because they like who they are or what they do. You got to make the request. You got to be upfront. You got to be direct. I've noticed a big common ground, especially with women. They like to hint about what they want. But men do it too. Go, hey, look, we've been together a couple of years. When I first, signed up for this relationship, got on, you weren't going to the bar every Friday night. You weren't hanging out with this woman. I don't like what it brings. It's going to wreck our relationship. Have a serious conversation. If things don't change, you got to make a choice, because throwing darts, calling names, blaming the friend doesn't work. I'm a breakup coach. I've talked to a lot of people. It doesn't work. Me telling you what not to do on the surface, don't do that. They're a 25-year-old adult. They're a 30-year-old adult. They don't like to be told what to do. Now, if you tell them how you feel, you give them some alternatives in a controlled manner, and they still, crap in your face, it's time to move on. Or accept it. Now, here's some really good questions to get to the root. I've offered these questions before. They're just a base set of questions, but you can use them for a variety of things. But if you are wondering, hey man, how do I get to the root of my insecurity? I don't know where this comes from, this jealousy. My girlfriend actually doesn't do anything wrong and I'm still jealous? Start with the question, what's the problem? So I'm jealous of my girlfriend. It's unfair. Number 2, how do you know you have this problem? Because I get jealous every time my girlfriend goes out. Okay. Number 3, how long have you had this problem? Oh, wow. Probably 10 years. I've had 3 girlfriends and I've been jealous of all of them. And one of the girlfriends liked it when I was jealous. Was there a time when you didn't have this problem? Probably when I was 18 years old. What have you done about it? Not much. Number 4, what happened the first time you had this problem? Good question. What emotions were present? Number 5, what events have happened since then? What emotions were present? In each of these events, what is the relationship between the event and the current situation in life? Next question. Tell me about your parents, siblings, and family members. What is the relationships between these people and your current situation? So if your situation was, I'm insecure and jealous, was anyone in your family like that in their relationship? Perhaps your parents, your grandparents, your aunt and uncle that lived with you? Tell me about your child in a relationship to this problem. Now, here's a great question. Is there a purpose for having this problem? Some people get stuck on this. A purpose to be jealous? Yeah. Is there a purpose? I guess I like to have more control. I guess actually my very first girlfriend was really jealous of me. And so I thought that was part of what relationships were, to show you cared. Next question. Is there something your unconscious mind wants you to know, or is there something you're not getting, which if you got it, would allow the problem to disappear? Now that has to be answered by the individual. Excuse me. So those some quick hitters on insecurities, some actual useful things to do if you are insecure in a relationship. I would say, though, if you're really going through it, once you break up over insecurities, it's hard to come back from that. If you're in a relationship and you're highly insecure and you feel like you're drowning in the relationship, talk to a coach like myself to unpack what's going on, because that'll make a big difference. Because then you can seed through, is this me or am I reacting to them? And in some cases, it's you blowing up a situation with a good partner, and you want to know the difference. All right, let me check into the live stream. We got 6 on deck, 2 likes. I appreciate it. I feel like women don't really want to hear about a man's feelings about his jealousy and insecurity. They want you to have all those problems worked out before you get involved. Yeah, the question would be, G-Money, is the relationship you're in, are you being provoked with her actions, which you find out of pocket or unacceptable? Or is this something that you have an issue with every woman you're with? That's what I'd like you to decipher. Some people don't look at that. And does she feel it's a problem for you but not her? Then it might just be to agree to disagree and move on. But whatever your insecurities are, and this is where a blanket term like insecurity, oh, I'm insecure. Insecure about what? I'm in a toxic relationship. What's toxic? The person's a narcissist. What are they narcissistic about specifically? Everything? Impossible. Odd Carlo. I do have some insecurities. My ex do often drink and party a lot. Found out she gets easily manipulated by other men at parties, getting too touchy. Well, alcohol does grease the wheels. It's been being used since the beginning of time. Men are going to be men at parties with women that have been drinking. So whether you want to blame the men, at the end of the day, you got to build it in your relationship with your girlfriend, that when we're in a relationship, hanging out. One of the big things that gets me is if your girlfriend drinks and you go to parties and you're in that age group in your mid 20s, maybe still, or late 20s, and that's your thing, and you don't get invited, that's a red flag. Whether you drink or don't drink. I think it's important to be able to trust her to go do those things. If that's something that she does where she doesn't want you invited, okay, I've had girlfriends before that they like to drink, they like to go out, but they always want to invite me. If it's a girls' night out, okay, once a month, something like that. Girls' night out, Friday and Saturday, and my friends are single. No. Now, if she fights that, you got to have a serious conversation. Don't beat around the bush. Don't get in arguments. Go, hey, look, we're together here. I know what your friends are up to. You're going to make a mistake here, hon. My insecurities are almost always just from being neurotic, not my partner's actions. Can you give some examples of your neurotic insecurities, please? All right, I got a story to unpack here. Coach, I got a story to share. Please do share it on your live stream too. Excuse me. I'm 29 and my ex is 40. He just left me for my best friend. Or should I say my ex-best friend now. We were together for just over a year, but had talked about marriage and kids. He met my parents recently, and that was a big deal for me. I don't just introduce anyone to my parents. I love him still so much. I can't believe he did this. There were signs of him being unhappy. The only thing I can think of, there were no signs of him being unhappy. The only thing I could think of is that he would tell me that he'd like me to exercise more, as I had gained about 25 pounds since we got back together. Well, depending on your height, I don't know how much that adds to your physique. He said I was getting chubby, but he'd joke about it. Every joke's half true, just to let you know. So I didn't think it was a big deal. I also gained the weight because he likes to cook and eat a lot, but he doesn't gain weight easy. He's just lucky like that. So, if you gain 25 pounds, don't blame it on your boyfriend cooking and eating a lot, okay? He's really tall, so maybe that's why. My best friend just had if you gain 25 pounds and it's, you're a muscular person or something like that, but if your partner's saying you're chubby and you look quite a bit different from when they got with you, there's a smart chance that they might end up having an issue with it. If he's being passive aggressive, where he's kind of joking, like, oh, you're kind of chubby, ha ha ha. How do you feel about yourself? And is it fair to say that you look a lot different than when you first got together? Now, is that grounds to leave you for your best friend? Hell no. But when you say, I'm not sure what he was unhappy about, where there's smoke, there's fire. I think you're on to something with the 25 pounds of gained in weight. My best friend just had a divorce a year ago, and it was really hard on her. So I included her on a lot of dinner dates and trips to the movies with my boyfriend. That's a no-no, okay? If your friend's single and you want to be nice, don't bring her out with your boyfriend who's 11 years older and being a third wheel. It can work for a little bit. There's certain people that are fine with it, but if you're bringing sand to the beach, thinking it would help her feel better. I'd noticed they joke around a bit, and my friend would get dressed up to get out to go out with us, and she does have a lot better body than me, no doubt. But I know I have a better personality, and I also got a nice smile with nice teeth. Hers isn't so nice. My ex actually commented before on how ugly her hair was, as she had dyed it blue for a few weeks, then went back to black. He broke up with me 2.5 weeks ago, and now I feel like it's really over, as they have gone public on IG, and it just eats me up to see it. My best friend texted, and she's sorry, but it just happened. Yeah, of course it did. Takes two to tango, but I would also, this is a great lesson for you to not bring your single friends on dates with your new boyfriend. And now she's told our other friend that she's pregnant. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. I texted my ex if this is true, and texted me back that he's sorry. Of course he is, but it's best we don't talk anymore. I called him and demanded some answers. He said the truth is you got fat and we were just attracted to each other. I hung up and cried for 2 days. I'm going to just say, if you were together for a year It's not grounds to break up because you gained 25 pounds. Even if you didn't gain 25 pounds, there's a possibility this would happen anyways because he became more attracted to your friend. Your wrong move in some senses was to bring your friend on dates regularly. I know your heart and your intentions are in the right place, but this was a hard lesson to learn. I've lost 10 pounds to sadness. Well, a lot of people lose weight after they break up. Now I just start feeling better, but I got done so wrong here. It's not fair. It isn't fair. Life isn't fair. You were in this relationship for a year, I believe. We were together for just over a year. So you're going to be able to get through this better and brighter. But this is one of those situations you're not going back. Because if it's true that she's pregnant, so you got your clarity. I would recommend we do a live coaching session. You get everything out. Maybe we'll do some EFT, some tapping, and some hypnosis, guided meditation. But this one's going to hurt. What do I feel? What do I do to feel better again? Book a live coaching session with myself to get a little bit more unpacked on this. I'd also say stay in no contact and stay the hell off social media. Tell all your friends, I don't want any updates on what's going on with them. Those are things I can help you with right away. So don't play with that. Go on to social media fast, change your passwords, but you don't want to be logging in time, being a spectator on their life right now. Is it rotten? Is it unfair? Yeah, but I would add, take some accountability that you don't bring your friend out on dates with your new boyfriend. Because when I say new boyfriend, you're only together a year. This isn't a long relationship. I can't imagine they're really going to have a baby. That'll just crush me. Well, I'll tell you this. You don't want to know any more about it. You don't want to follow their stories. You don't want to know anything else. Okay? Cut off all available contact to this individual and her, because this is going to really hurt you. You have some power in the situation. Don't be a spectator in the cheap sheets watching the game. Okay? If you got a story you want to send into the live stream, go to writemac.com. I'm a little off today, still recovering from that COVID. Man, that stuff gets you. G Money, let's get into the live stream a little bit today. Double D, it's been a while, my friend. All right. So G Money said, my insecurities are almost always just from being in. Okay. The other day, my girl's grandma called her to wish her a happy birthday. And my girl started crying and get all emotional on the phone call. It triggered me because my grandparents are dead, and it disturbed me to see my girlfriend losing control of her emotions so easy. I know that's psychotic thing to think, but I can't help it. Well, here's the thing, bro. Number one, you're aware of it, so you're mindful of it. So that's step one. You know what it is to be triggered, right? Okay, that's a start. I don't like seeing women cry. It triggers me sometimes too about some things in my own life, about my childhood. But the reality is that it's a moment, and you can have a talk with her about it. And if you get upset with her, you can have a controlled talk with her later on in the evening and go, look, this is why it triggers me. Because, this has happened to me before. Coach. Dang, that's sad. Single women always try to destabilize relationships. I learned most women really don't want to hear about a man's insecurities, feelings. She starts looking at them like they are weak. Well, G Money mentioned basically the same quote. It's almost like you guys were wrote the same thing in a few different words. And I didn't. This isn't one of those things where I'm telling people like, hey, be vulnerable, guys, and tell them all your insecurities up front. No. What I want you to do is identify the insecurities that are fucking up your relationship. Are they you as an individual blowing up the spot, filtering for stuff that's not really there, making a big deal out of things? Or are these things that are really unacceptable for you that really got you on edge and she's just not changing? Or vice versa for woman versus man. So then identify these things, right? Know what they are. And then be honest with yourself. And get them down to the root. Where does this shit come from? Where is this stuff come from? Because what happens is a lot of times I'm just jealous of her. She does this. She wears crazy clothes. She's wearing mini skirts every day. Did you meet her when she was wearing mini skirts? Yeah, but now we're together. All right, well, she's not going to change her dress code. I don't like where she's hanging out. Okay, well, did she hang out there before? Did you have these problems before? Right? Because when you're in a relationship, there's going to have to be some give and take, some benefit of the doubt type stuff. But if you're like, yeah, that's a no for me, that's absolutely no. All right, well, then establish that. You telling them over and over again they can't do something doesn't work. You understanding why you feel that way and where it comes from will help you out. G Money says, Mac, you're on point. Being able to tell if the insecurity is internal or external is a huge good point. Yeah, I didn't say internal, external, but that's exactly what I meant. It's so different, right? Because the guy that has it internally, it's going to be there with every woman, right? He's filtering for that. If it's about, jealousy over you're going to cheat on me and mom cheated on my dad when I was 10 years old, you got to know where that's coming from, because you're just going to keep accusing people of that. If you got a girlfriend that's in the corner every 10 minutes talking on her phone, you caught her on some dirty texting things, then you got, where there's smoke, there's fire. And then you got to make a decision. How many times are you going to try to tell her what not to do when she's just going to do what she's going to do? I ignored her past just to ruin my future mindset. I ignored her past just to ruin. What do you mean by that, Odd Carlo? I'd like to know, my friend. Carlo, I've done the same thing. You met with a girl and you know what she's about, and then you're supposed to, when she keeps acting that way, it shouldn't be a surprise. Well, bottom line is, those ones are the ones that COVID slows you down a little bit mentally. The ones that you overlook their past, or you overlook anything, that later on you're like, yeah, I knew that. What's the reason? What's the real reason, guys? What's the real reason? She's extremely attractive. Our intimacy was excellent. These are the things that make you overlook stuff like that. But if you're in a long-term relationship, don't overlook it. It's going to be the way it's going to be. Right? That's why you overlook it. It's like, a lot of times someone that's with someone rich, they got to overlook a lot of stuff, right? So those are the reasons that stuff happens. All right, folks, I'm going to keep it a little bit brief today. G Money, Derek D, it's always a pleasure. False hope that it's in time she'll change. That's why I overlooked it. Yeah, well, here's the thing. That's why I said, when you have a conversation and they're doing odd things or they're doing things wrong, you got to have a direct conversation, and you can look into their eyes if you're a good judge of character, and you can notice right away, are they taking me serious? Are they going to listen to me when I stand up? I've noticed a cognitive decline in friends who have had COVID, even more so in vaccinated friends. I hope you feel better. Well, thanks, Double D, because I don't think my cognitive is going to be that bad. I'm already feeling a lot better. So I'm not gonna put that cape on, bud. But thanks for the feedback. I'm getting better and better every day. I know the brain's pretty much on deck. I just had a 2-hour coaching session right before this. So that's part of it. It's all good. All right, folks, I'll be back on deck tomorrow. I'll tell you the title of the show, 11 a.m. Pacific time. Check this real quick. This week we have, these are the topics, folks. Does age really matter in relationships? I believe that's tomorrow. How to save a marriage if your partner wants divorce. Are masculine men faithful? Should you tell your partner about your ex? So we have all those on deck, 11 a.m. Monday through Friday. If you got a story you want to share, send it into rightmac.com. And we'll get it done. If you want to book a live coaching session, go to rightmac.com. Double D, always a pleasure. No, I couldn't imagine if there's lobotomies were the standard now. No way, Jose. All right, folks. It's been good. It's been grand. Stay you. Curtains.